know, MCB4 has a hybrid policy that you can find on our website. The board members which are online are expected to attend meetings in person. I mean, we are. And if they are not in person, they have a disability and extraordinary circumstances, they can be on Zoom. And those that are on Zoom will be able to participate virtually, but they must leave their camera on. The meeting is being streamed live and on the YouTube channel, and a transcript is recorded. So any egregious behavior will be there forever. Okay, all right. So the way this committee works, like all the other ones, is we make recommendation to the full board. The full board is this next month. What's the date, Janine?
On September 30th.
September 30th. So if there is a topic and what comes out of the committee doesn't satisfy you, you can always show up at the full board and speak up. We also operate with every applicant is going to make a presentation. Then the committee members will do Q&A. And then we turn it to the public for Q&A and for comments. And then we regroup in the committee for resolutions or discussion and resolution. So that's the way we're going to do it. So we have a very long agenda, so I appreciate your help, and my co-chairs decided to go to Asia.
Yeah.
And so first we're going to introduce ourselves. I'm Christine Berthe. I am the co-chair of the Transportation Committee.
My name is Charlie Todd, and I'm a member of the committee.
Tina Nelson, and member. Alice Wong, member.
Roger Washington, member.
Greg Lambert, member. David Warren, member. Alan Lawson, member. Pete Diaz, member.
Max Christie, member. Liam Buckley, member. Thomas Garza, member.
Okay. Excellent, a terrific committee. So the first topic tonight is the Port Authority to present, hopefully quickly, on the rehabilitation of the bridge parapet over the Lincoln Tunnel Expressway project. And here is another member. You want to announce your name?
I'm Ellen.
Okay, yes. And who is so Alicia, are you presenting for the board?
Thank you, Christine. Hi, everyone. Good evening. Tanjila Rahman from the Port Authority Government Community Relations team. I'm going to just quickly pass it off to my colleagues to quickly introduce themselves. And Caroline Weiss is going to be doing the presentation on the rehabilitation of bridge parapets over Lincoln Tunnel Expressway. Please note that this project is completely separate from the Midtown Bus Terminal Replacement Project. I'll pass it over to Chris to introduce himself.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Chris Lee, Director of Government Relations for the Port Authority. I'll introduce Kevin. Kevin, go ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Kevin O'Neill, Project Manager with the Port Authority. And I think Caroline is next.
Okay, hi, I'm Carolyn Weiss. Give me a minute and I will share my screen. And yes, and get in presentation mode. Okay, can everyone see?
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, so as I said, I'm Carolyn Weiss, and I'm the Program Director in TB&T overseeing this project. Thank you for meeting with us as we prepare to begin construction for the parapet replacements on the bridges over the New York Expressway on 34th, 35th, and the south side of 37th Street, as the images in red show on the plan. And please feel free to interrupt me if you have any questions as I go along. And also at the end, as you can see, we'll take some questions. Okay, hopefully you recall our presentation from May of 2024, where we showed the proposed design for the replacement of the existing parapets done in collaboration with HYHK's industrial designer and the CB4 Transportation Group leadership. The image you see is the rendering we produced as part of that presentation. The new parapets will restore the full sidewalk width. As this rendering shows, the parapet base is concrete and the top is steel. We will deliver them painted as shown. However, the community painting program could be applied over this paint job if you want to continue it. In addition, at the request of CB4, lighting has been added to the top of the wall to wash it in downlight and provide more light on the sidewalk at night. In preparation for the work, the existing planters needed to be relocated, and the Port Authority and HYHK performed a site walkthrough in August of this year and agreed to relocation sites. And I will talk through those as we go through the phasing. So first I wanted to talk through just the basic sequence of construction we'll be following on this project. We have awarded the project to Yonkers Construction Company. The construction will begin in earnest in September of 2025, so this month, on the first phase of work. The overall construction schedule is 18 to 24 months, so weather permitting, the work will be completed by the end of 2026, but may need to extend into early 2027. The Port Authority will provide updated bulletins as the work progresses. The basic steps of the construction for each phase are as follows. First, the planters will be relocated off existing sidewalks into temporary locations agreed to with HYHK. The temporary barrier and fence at the curb line, as well as the barrier to create the temporary pedestrian walkway, will be put in place. Survey and sampling work will be performed. Then the temporary protection platform and netting will be erected below the sidewalk and outside the parapet. Then demo of the existing sidewalk and parapet will be performed, and a new sidewalk and parapet will be constructed. Once that is completed, the temporary barrier will be removed and the planters will be returned to their final locations. The platform work will be done at night to coordinate with closures of the New York Expressway below it. All other work is planned to be performed during daytime work hours. Okay. The Port Authority follows noise and construction mitigation protocols on all of our projects. There will be noise monitoring, and blankets will be used as required to dampen loud construction work. We've provided the noise complaint number if there is need to report excessive noise. The image shows an example of the barriers, fence, and screening that will be erected to create the temporary barriers and sidewalk in the drive lanes. As previously noted, the work platforms that will be erected at night, which means that the construction work will be daytime work only. The Port Authority requires the contractor to maintain a clean and orderly work site at all times. We also are aware that there is a lot of other construction in and around this area, so the Port Authority is coordinating our work closely with the New York City Department of Transportation. In addition, the contractor is planning to saw cut most of the existing parapet and sidewalk for removal, which should limit the jackhammering work and further reduce noise. Okay, now on to the individual bridges. Hopefully, some of you have already noticed that the planters on the south side of 34th Street have been temporarily relocated to Dyer Avenue between 34th and 35th Streets. And that the one planter that is on the east end has been permanently moved to 36th Street. And I'm sure you have all noticed the sidewalk closures on the south side of 34th Street and north side of 35th, which were completed as part of the Phase 1A mobilization work. Shortly, work will begin on Phase 1B, where the platform underneath the south side parapet at 34th and sidewalk will be erected, followed by demolition of the existing parapet and sidewalk. Once this is complete, work will begin on constructing the new sidewalk and the new concrete parapet, followed by installation of the new steel railing on top of it. As shown, Phase 1 is expected to take approximately 5 months, which completes it in February, weather permitting. Once phase 1 is complete, the curbside planters will be returned and the sidewalk will be reopened. At this point, phase 2 will commence, where the same process will be repeated on the north side of 34th Street, starting with temporarily relocating planters on that sidewalk. This phase is scheduled to take approximately 5 months as well, weather permitting. 35th Street follows the same process and schedule as 34th Street, except the north side will be done first in phase 1A and B, and the south side in phase 2, as the schedule shows. You've probably noticed that the city bike rack has been temporarily removed. This was done to allow traffic to bypass any construction vehicles stopped in the drive lane while delivering or removing materials. When phase 2 of this work is performed, the 2 planters on the south side will be relocated temporarily to the newly completed north side, and then returned to their current location once phase 2 is complete. Once phases 1 and 2 are complete, and the maintenance protection of traffic is removed on 35th Street, we will notify City Bike and so that they can reinstall the rack. As we note on the south side closure plan, Bob's Park, located on the southwest corner of the bridge, will remain open, and it is being kept outside the maintenance and protection of traffic enclosures. As I noted, the bike rack shown on the image at the top was placed on the south side of 35th Street, west of Dyer Avenue. It was on top of our bridge. In order to maintain one sidewalk, a through lane, and a bypass lane, this bike rack needed to be temporarily removed. The nearest bike rack, shown in the image at the bottom, is located on the south side of 35th Street, 1 block to the east. Once the work on 35th is complete, City Bike will put the removed bike rack back into service. We have also provided you with the City Bike map showing the numerous other bike racks surrounding the one shown in gray, which is the one that has been temporarily closed. Okay, the north side of 37th Street Bridge abuts the Dyer Deck Over project, which is part of the Midtown Bus Terminal Replacement Project. This deck over project has started construction. Therefore, that project will address the sidewalk and parapet along the south side of this bridge. Sorry, the north side of this bridge. The work performed as part of this project, as part of our project, will only be the sidewalk and parapet replacement on the south side of this bridge. And this is what we call phase 3 of the project. As shown in the schedule, this work may begin before phase 2 is complete. There are no planters on this sidewalk. As you know, the Dyer Deck Over project has closed the sidewalk and the parking lane on the north side, as the yellow area on this image indicates. As part of the phase 3 work, the existing sidewalk will be closed on the south side, and the parking lane will be used as a temporary sidewalk. This will mean that there is only a single lane of through traffic and the south side temporary sidewalk available on 37th Street for the duration of phase 3. Therefore, when construction vehicles need to load or unload materials, there will need to be holds for both pedestrians and vehicles. This phase also is approximated at 5 months. This means that the overall project should be 18 months. And as shown in this schedule, if all goes well, the work will end in 2026, but as noted before, it could extend into early 2027. This is an image of the community advisory that was issued before phase 1A began, and I believe this week we will be issuing one for phase 1B. Including and phase 1A was just to notify you about the maintenance and protection of traffic going up and the test pit and survey work that is going on. As noted, we will be continuously updating the community with these bulletins as the work progresses to let you know how our schedule is going and what upcoming work is going to be occurring. And at this point, I am done. Hopefully that was fast enough, and I will take any questions anyone has.
So the committee, any questions? Fairly self-explanatory. Okay,
It's good.
in the public has any questions? You can
No,
ask questions. Oh,
there's
go ahead. I'm sorry, the committee.
Hi, just a quick question. Thanks for the presentation. You mentioned business hours. What are those hours? Where the construction work will occur? Start
So,
anytime?
yeah, so it's the daytime work hours. Right now, the permit is for 7 AM to 3 PM. They're actually asking to revise that to start a little bit later and go a little bit later. But right now, the permit is 7 AM to 3 PM.
Thank you.
Yes.
Are you doing construction on weekends?
So we may, if we believe it's the right thing to do for the project and the community, but the permit is mostly weekday work. But does permit us, if we need to notify the DOT to take a weekend. We were thinking for the 37th Street, we might want to do some of the bigger delivery or removal work on a weekend, because it might be easier for everybody, but we will notify you and talk to you about it if that's what we want to do.
Okay. Yeah, Janine, anybody online who wants to?
No, there's no hands up.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for the presentation. I think, you know, I can sort of have this, if there are no questions that shows we like it. But it's very exciting. We've been working on that for a long time. So this is very rewarding, and I guess, you know, we will send you a letter reiterating the issue of noise, because there are so many noisy activities there, and the request that the noise be maintained and that weekends would not be used, right?
Yes, and if you noticed, maybe on 34th Street, the MPT is up, the fence is up, and you can see that they've actually installed noise blankets on the fence. The banner will go in front of those noise blankets. We expect to get the banners in a week or so. They're being made now and will be hung as soon as we receive them.
Okay, so thank you very much. Do we have a motion to do a resolution with the noise mitigation essentially, right?
Yes.
Yes, all in favor?
No,
Okay,
I
what?
wanted to discuss the,
Oh, you want to discuss?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
no, and this might not make me popular. I really firmly believe that they should be working on weekends. We're looking at like an insanely long timeline for this project to get done. And the fact that there are 2 perfectly good days of the week that I myself am not enjoying my leisure time on like 37th Street between 9th and 10th.
So what's your recommendation?
My recommendation is that we encourage them to work on weekends.
We encourage them to work on weekends?
Let's get this done.
In addition to weekends.
Yeah, in addition, yes, sorry, of course, yeah.
Is that in the budget?
Well, that's not, I am not.
I didn't-
I live right above it, and I am not in favor of that. So, yeah, let's get it done, but there's a lot happening, and having 1 or 2 days of. I mean, I can tell you today, the noise from the high was overwhelming. Overwhelming.
And I, you know me, I live on Big Island, so
Right.
I'm in the same boat as you.
Yeah,
There's a larger issue when you actually do that, and the community might want to say yes to that. But there can be a pushback to TOB, and DOT have certain sort of requirement that they have to follow, so it might not play out.
well, and the other thing is that there has been the construction task force in the past. And there have been very vociferous people, including on 34th Street, who have objected to any noise. So I know of block association on 34th Street, wow, really, I'm very sensitive to noise. So I don't know that, you know, I would say that they could work on 34th Street, you know, and other streets if this is not noisy. So if this is deliveries, pickup and deliveries, that's fine. If this is really this deconstructing the thing, that I think this is going to be very questionable.
It's also, there's Alice's Garden there, which, you know, they want sanctuary.
So, I have a hand there, Senator.
Yeah, I think I agree with Liam, but like. It's gonna be noisy for a certain number of days, no matter what, and I would rather. Just get it done sooner, that's. I think, like. In terms of the overall effect on the neighborhood, just getting it done sooner is more important than.
So I would recommend that
Minimizing the, like, what times the noise occurs at.
we consult with the block association on 34th Street. Because they live there,
Yeah.
you know, it's their line. I live like half the block away,
I live there.
and you live there, right?
Jackson,
Well, you
there's
don't
a
live
garden
on
right there.
34.
Correct, 39.
Okay, you live on 39, we only live on 34, so I think by respect, I would endeavor to send to consult with the 34th Street Block Association and see what they prefer. If they prefer everything to be done in one shot, then we put it in the letter, and if they don't, we just say that, you know, non-noisy activity could be on the weekend, preferably, but not the noisy activities. This is, look, I mean, I think we need to respect people who live there. I don't think we can make a resolution without their input. Yes.
As I said earlier, Alice's Garden is there, it's like, when there's a lot of noise, the birds don't come. The noise is not there, so at least 1 or 2 days, maybe the birds, especially during migrating season, will stop them.
Okay, well, I would phrase it this way, which is that like. We can kind of take an approach where we say that. Folks in Alice's Garden and in the neighborhood have. Maybe, you know, at the end of the day, years off this project. Because we encourage them to use, you know, 20% of the days of the week that they weren't previously. Or we can say that I think somewhat arbitrarily that. We don't want to use that. Either way, I would say in this letter, it would be neutral, and we can bring in the block associations and have that
No,
discussion.
I will say,
Neutral
as we're
for the-
showing, the construction duration is only 1.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so we won't take years off this project,
Lost.
no matter what.
Or you can make a neutral
You know,
letter.
we
That's
might
fine.
shorten it. I think the bigger thing that we were thinking about more is just, especially on 37th Street, with that one sidewalk, you know, in the drive lane and the one through lane, that it might be better when traffic is not as heavy to do deliveries and things like that. So again, quieter work, as Christine said, on weekends. So we're not trying to do holes when there's a lot of traffic or a lot of pedestrians trying to get through on that street.
So,
But I don't think the contractor
yes.
right now is planning to do a lot of weekend work. We would
Okay.
have to take it back to them and see if they were even willing to before.
Yeah,
How does the weather affect the construction, or the period? Let's say, you know, 5-6 days of rain or snow, how does that affect the project itself? Will that stop construction during that period? Sure.
It'll depend on how, you know, if we're doing demolition and it's raining like today rained, no, it won't stop the work. But obviously, if we're trying to pour sidewalk concrete and it's raining, it would stop the work. So it really depends what work we're doing on and how bad the rain or the wind or
And I
snow.
guess that's,
okay,
yeah, and that would probably be the reason for asking for the permits, during the weekend.
Right, to try to make up days.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's all.
It's
Everything
all-
we're talking about is business as usual.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
nothing exceptional with the other
Yeah.
construction.
Just about the days of work, ever come up at any of the public meetings?
This is the public meeting.
This is. Okay. I thought maybe there was some block association meetings with people.
No. Somebody raised, so, I mean. Friendly amendment, so we will make a letter and we will be neutral to weekend work, right?
You can just put a statement, thank you that we encourage Port Authority to explore the possibilities
Yep.
of working over the weekend
No,
with,
this is not what we said, we said be neutral. Otherwise, I have to go and consult with the people who live on
That's right.
31st Street and 35th Street, the Joe Studio and 37th Street. So now we have to do a whole work to figure what's going on. The best way to proceed, I think, is just to be neutral and to not mention the weekend. One way or another.
oh, that's fine, I'm okay with that.
Okay. So.
I think Christine, from our point of view, we'll come back to you if we see opportunities to maximize the speed of the work by using weekends. And, we'll come back to you in advance and let you know
Yes.
what we're thinking of and
Yes.
see if it's something that fits. Maybe it's not noisy, maybe it's easy, maybe it's something that would increase
Right.
our productivity, and we'll definitely do that and let you know when we do
So
that,
that's
or
what
if we're
we
thinking
put
about
in
it.
the letter. That's what we put in the letter. So can I have a vote on this revised motion? Right. All in favor? Very good. Thank you. Thank you so much, the Port Authority. This is going to be a big success, I think. Everybody is expecting that. All
Well,
right,
thank you,
so-
everyone, for the time, and we're excited about it. I think it's gonna be beautiful, which is nice.
So the
Thank you,
next.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next topic is the Hudson River Park Trust to present on MC conflicts in the park. And for this, I'm going to ask Alan to run the meeting. Because being on the board of the trust, it is a perceived conflict of interest. So, Alan.
And this is what you get for volunteering.
Right, just run the show, turning it over to you. I can make comments, but I cannot run the.
So buses in Hudson River Park.
I have a presentation on a jump ride or Janine.
Janine is probably going to run it for you.
Okay,
Janine,
I'll pull it up. Yep, 1 second.
right,
Either way. Lorraine, you want to say hi before we,
we have online, Doreen, and then why don't you, once that's happening, why don't you introduce yourselves?
I'm Kevin Quinn, I'm Senior VP for Design and Construction for Hudson River Park.
Robert Adbury, thank you, Naomi, EDP, regulations and programs.
And we have online.
Mary Doyle, President and CEO of the press.
Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Was going to be a full room there today, so I'm letting my colleagues be the ones be there. But we're frequent visitors at the Waterfront Parks and Environment Committee. Not as frequent at your committee, but we're glad to be there with you tonight to talk to you about traffic.
Okay, take it away.
Okay, so I think the board is aware that the trust is looking at the area between 29th and 44th Street to improve that area of the park. Specifically, we've advanced the area just north of Pier 76 to Pier 84. And we were at the board in July to present that concept plan and it was approved. And we subsequently went to the design commission where they also approved it. But we thought it would be a good idea to come to you guys to focus on pedestrian and vehicular conflicts that we aim to solve and how we aim to solve it in front of Piers 82 and 83. So that's the focus of this presentation. Next slide. Next slide. So, as I said, we want to focus on the vehicular and pedestrian conflicts, but it's worth just popping back a little bit to show you the general concept of and how this all fits into it. So, I'm sure you know this is the existing conditions. Even from a helicopter, you can see that there's an awful lot of asphalt, not a lot of landscape. And not a lot of lines on the pavement telling people where to go, or things stopping pedestrians from wandering into traffic. It's not a great situation. So, next slide. This is the concept that the board saw in July, and I'm not gonna dwell on it because it's big and complicated and we want to get to the meat of this meeting. But the general concept is we provide formal esplanade all along the guardrail, similar to what we have elsewhere in the park. Where it crosses the plaza, where the existing water feature will remain, it's formalized and then it connects onward to the north. And by formalized, I mean it's the difference in paving to articulate where the circulation path is versus the lingering path, that's like, lingering path. Flexible lawn area just north of Pier 79, a picnic grove between 81 and 83, a lot more plantings around the existing buildings to remain. Pier 84, that's our concession building. We're keeping the water feature, it's very popular, adding an outdoor fitness area. And where the derelict water play area is, we're exploring the idea of a nature play area, which is play for all ages, kids and adults, lots of rocks to climb on, a lot of vegetation. Because there's so much asphalt, we all think we could use a little more green. This, once executed, will increase the permeability of the park in this area by 50%. So 50% reduction in asphalt. Next slide. We're gonna focus on the traffic and circulation improvements. So next slide. I'm sure you all know the situation in front of 81 and 83. A lot of places where people can walk into traffic easily, some improvised solutions to stop people from walking into cars, exiting and entering Pier 83. A lot of areas where people can congregate, they can sometimes back up into the esplanade, where people are jogging and walking. Throughout the area, especially in front of the Circle Line area, there's kind of undefined parking areas where everybody parks, Ubers, commercial drop off, all sorts of things happen there. Ubers, taxis kind of park wherever they can. And then we have two bus routes that end or start, as the case may be, in front of Pier 83. So those are the things that we wanted to focus on that could all be significantly improved. Next slide. Same photos, just showing you better where they are. So people parking everywhere, that's in front of Circle Line mostly here. Ubers, taxis, piling up all along here. And the bus drop off or departure area over here. Next slide. As part of our design efforts, we worked with QI Lin from to study what's going on here. Count cars on a fairly popular day. We looked at May in 2024, which is not peak season, but pretty indicative of that. It's interesting, there's one entrance and two exits. All vehicles come in the north area. Only buses leave the middle area. Personal vehicles and taxis and loading and unloading trucks all leave the southern area. Everybody coming in on a weekday, we get about 700 vehicles coming in. On a weekend, about 1,500. Buses leaving, we get about 194 on a weekday, 130 on weekends. And then on the southern entrance, southern exit, sorry, we get about 522 on a weekday and 1,400, 1,500 other vehicles. Now, it's interesting in terms of quantity and et cetera, but also interesting is despite all of our improvised ways of keeping cars in the right spot and leaving the right exit, there are still buses coming out of here and personal vehicles coming out of there. Shows up in the data. So it's not a total success, even as it is now. Just want to pause on that just so you can digest the numbers for a second. Fully digest. Oh, lights. Leaving the bus. New to me also. Oh, lights. As in, oh, lighting.
Oh, lighting at the light.
Yes.
Are you gonna recommend cars? I don't know, like regular cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, so where's regular cars
It's
represented?
in the pie chart where it says lights. Oh, that's a typo. Yeah, sorry.
The green is the cost.
Yes, green is the cost. We have more fun slides coming, so next slide. So we're doing a number of improvements and all these, we get into more detail later, so I'm just gonna touch on them briefly, but. Concept number one, provide a lot more green barriers to stop people from wandering into car areas and cars and buses from wandering into people areas. Prioritizing pedestrian safety at the entrances, Pier 83 and 82. Providing areas where people tend to congregate, places for them to congregate outside of the main path of travel or pedestrian and vehicular. Formalizing the loading area for the vehicles and trucks that are servicing Pier 83, dropping off supplies, et cetera. Providing a formal area where groups get picked up and dropped off, primarily those are school buses. And enhancing the MTA drop off pickup. Next slide. So, first concept, increasing the planted buffer to help channel people to get them to the right area. This is the existing condition, and you can see the bike path pretty well channelized. Not a whole lot going on elsewhere. Important to say during this whole project, we don't intend to take away or add any pedestrian entrances into the park. We're dealing with the existing crosswalk. Next slide. You can see a significant amount more in green. And this is basically what we do throughout the park to the south, where there is a crosswalk and you're captured into the park. And then you go into the Esplanade, and more importantly, when you leave, you're kind of forced into the crosswalk where vehicles expect to see you, and it concentrates the crossing of pedestrians over that whole thing. So we've done that successfully elsewhere. It's a pretty standard thing. Next slide. The existing vehicular pedestrian conflicts coming in and out of Pier 81 and 83 is a little more challenging. 83 has a parking garage, so personal vehicles are coming and going. There's no overnight parking there, it's daily, so every car that goes in, goes out. And we've had some improvised solutions. These green barriers are there so that vehicles can go out, see well where pedestrians are coming from. And the pedestrians have time to react to the vehicle's time. It's not a bad solution conceptually, it is hideously ugly. So that could be better. Throughout the park, we always prevent vehicles from getting into the park, so we have barriers here, we have a gate here that is only opened by a trust staff to let neighbors vehicles in and out. That's the existing condition. These improvised planters, and we rely on paint to channel the vehicles. Pier 81, very similar. Main difference is there is no parking garage in this pier. And so the vehicles going in and out are reduced, but they do get commercial drop-offs of goods. And contractors visiting what happens. So there is some vehicle activity going in and out of there, but it's not personal vehicles. But it's the same situation basically, where we have improvised barriers to provide some buffer between the entrance, which is pedestrians, and we have barriers to prevent the vehicles from going into the rest of the park. Next slide. So to improve this, we're basically taking what we've done, improvised, and formalizing it through a better, more constructive means. So where we have paint, we have a planted area to help channel cars. We are pushing out pedestrians. We have a formal crosswalk. These are the bollards that you see elsewhere in the park. And we have planters here, which will have plants that are low enough so vehicles can see, but wide enough so that people don't tend to hop that barrier. We have a hard barrier here, which we designed to look nice, but it's not a planter because we need to allow space for people to enter the pier there. That's why the planters don't go all the way to the building. This gate will remain, and we have improvements down here that we can talk about in a little bit. Very similar Pier 81 solution. Planters to channel vehicles planted at buffer so that vehicles can see the pedestrians and park areas here so that they can still access the pier. Next slide. Okay, third thing, people tend to congregate on this pier for a bunch of reasons. This photo is Circle Line, either waiting to board or waiting to buy tickets, but there are people lingering, often from foreign destinations that don't necessarily know the location of what's going on. And so they tend to wander about and back up into pedestrians, joggers, and basically the rest of the Esplanade. That happens mostly at Pier 83 because there's really no waiting area on that pier. On Pier 81, there's space in the pier for people to congregate, but a lot of people don't really know about it necessarily. And so there are still people milling about trying to figure out where to go, and they tend to back up into pedestrians. So next slide. So the orange-ish areas are differentiated mostly by pavements, separated by plants and trees. And that is an area where people can congregate and not clog up the pedestrian circulation on the main Esplanade. So that's what we're proposing to do at 83 and a smaller version at 81. And so the Esplanade will come down, travel from south to north, bump out around these piers to provide both congregation space and also to give some distance between the vehicles and pedestrians. Next slide. Fourth thing. Pier 83 in particular gets a lot of deliveries, mostly early in the morning. And mostly the same delivery people coming, so they can be trained where to go. And what we tend to do is move the loading area over to be adjacent to that bus island. Circle Line thinks this is a good idea. They like it very much. This area provides, I'm sorry, this is where they're doing it now, but it's informal, and they should be doing it here. They often do it all over. But next slide. We're proposing to formalize it with proper signage, proper painting, training the delivery drivers, and this accommodates about 4 box trucks, which will be used primarily in the morning. I'll talk a little bit more about this bus island in a minute. But this accommodates 4 box trucks and will get them out of sliding this area, which is.
I can hear some background noise, you said. It feels out there. Is it?
Okay. Next slide. Drop off of Uber and taxis. All over the place now because there's space for them to go. They're not delivery drivers that come every day. They're often brand new drivers or people that have been here for whatever reason. And so they tend to go wherever there's space. And so you see them piling up here, you see them piling up around Circle Line. And not to blame them, there's not a lot of help for them to figure out where to properly go. So next slide. So what we intend to do is provide a formalized and clearly marked taxi Uber drop-off area right here, which will allow people to get out of the right side of the car onto a sidewalk and then into the park without having to cross any other vehicles or anything else going on, and narrow the roadway so that it is a roadway where they cannot stop. Now, this requires some training. But by providing less asphalt in an unmarked area, we hope to contain them to the area specifically marked for them. School buses are another thing. They come with drivers who don't often come to the same place twice, and so it's a learning thing for them also. This design here, we provide for 4 school buses that can park in this, basically a lay-by off of this vehicular road. The kids leave the right side of the bus and they are on a sidewalk and in the park without any option to really go into traffic, which is a much more improved situation we currently have. Then the bus continues to go out. So personal vehicles from the parking garage, commercial people loading and unloading in the morning, school buses, all of that goes out this exit, which is the way it is now, but in a more formalized manner. Buses continue to leave the new exit. Next slide. Bus operations and potential improvements. So, I'm sure you know what this looks like. This is the transformer, electrical transformer that delivers the proper voltage. This gizmo, which then charges the bus. That's the idea. Next slide. There are 3 bus routes that are near us. 2 of them actually terminate or start within the park. The M42 and the M50 start and stop in front of Cherry Street. The M12 goes north on 12th Avenue with a bus stop on the north side of 9A, and then comes south on 11th Avenue. Not super important to us, but maybe part of the larger conversation about bus stop projects, we just had some on the map. Next slide. So we counted these also, pretty interesting, same time of year, was May. So, boardings and the lightings. M42, basically 400 boardings, 280 departing, lighting. M50, 95 boarding, 131 lightings, basically 500 people coming and going from that bus island. Pier 83 is the last stop for both lines, so you know. The N50 also stops in front of the Intrepid. Very few people board it because it's the next to last stop, so it doesn't make much sense to get on that bus at that place. 92 people departing the bus, mostly we think employees in the morning going to work at the Intrepid. On the next stop. And I should say also, this is fairly normal for a bus route. It's not super heavy and it's not super light. Oops, back one. This is sort of interesting if you're into data. It's not super actionable for us, but it does show that, let's see, the M42 is blue, the M50 is the orange color. So a lot more action from the M42. And most of the action goes 8 a.m. to say 6 p.m. M50 at the Intrepid, you can see not an incredible amount of action, but mostly it's really early in the morning, which makes us think it's the employees starting. I'll just, you can stare at that for a second because it is what it is. Next slide. Okay, so the existing condition of the bus height, it's not great. It's only 6 feet wide. And so when people are waiting to get on the bus, they tend to be piling up and backing out into what is a vehicular path. Not great. Also, when people are coming off the bus and they're super excited to get to a park, run right out, they are in traffic. So not a good situation. Next slide. It was good. Can you go back one? The slide dropped off, probably my fault. The solution that we're, I think we'll get there, but basically what we're proposing to do is expand this island by 12, make it 12 feet thick instead of 6 feet thick, and add a planted buffer at the end, and some means that we haven't designed yet to dissuade people from going that way, whether it's pipe rail, or bench seating, or something, stopping people from going that way, and forcing them basically to use the crosswalk. I have a graphic of that, it's just a little over. Next slide. There are some things we learned from talking to MTA staff level. These weren't the big wigs at the head office, but this is better information from people on the ground. You may think that the bus charger is not used, and that is true currently, but they say they are updating the software. It's a software issue that is preventing them from using it, and it will be fixed soon, and it will be operational. So that charger is, according to them, going to be used in the very near future. The M42 and M50 lines are considered interlines because they both stop and start at the same locations. So depending on usage, they can add a bus to a different line to accommodate heavier usage or take a bus away when it's not being used. The space is considered a key layover point for transit employees because there's a public restroom there, there's a place to buy water, it's civilization where they can go out and take care of themselves. So they like to, as a stop. The transit people would prefer to have a shade structure at that island, but it's not deep enough in its current configuration to accommodate any islands, it's only 6 feet wide. Transit agrees with us that the pedestrian circulation is not great, and they have noted that passengers get confused when they're leaving the bus, and some are confused getting on the bus, so they kind of how to get it. So that's, you all know that, and it just verifies it. Next slide. Outside of our scope of work, but maybe for your conversation, this is an image of the northbound lane and where the bus stops going up the end of the clock. Next slide. We have other situations in the park where buses come into the park. This is the Chelsea Piers. This is at the Intrepid. And this is at Pier 25, it's over there by. In all other situations, the buses are not crossing the bike path. At, in front of Pier 3, they are crossing the bike path, which is making it difficult to deal with. And definitely long term, yes, entering and exiting. So long term, it would be great not to have that situation. Next slide. So short term, things we're actually gonna do, we're gonna widen that median. We're gonna do immediately, we're gonna widen that median. We're going to figure out how to add some trees to that median. It's probably gonna be at the northern end. But we'll talk to NTA if we can do some more trees. They don't like trees in conflict with the buses, but we think we can get it done in the north section. And we'll talk to the NTA about relocating that bus charger. Because if you don't have that bus charging station, if they're able to move the buses elsewhere, we could recapture some of that land for the park and eliminate the conflict between the buses and the bikes. So longer term, discuss changing the M42 and M50 where they stop and start, getting out of the park. Discuss the possibility of rerouting the lines to more buses. In any case, coming to the park, we cross the bike lanes. And as part of the New York State DOT's 9A visioning study, encouraging the relocation of the bus stops completely outside the park and on 9A so that we don't have them. Next slide. This is the slide is way out of order. This is the one where we propose expanding this to be 12 feet as it's shown. And what is not shown is we're looking at bulking this out and providing some things. That, next slide is the double check, but I believe you that's the. Okay. Amazing.
Super, excellent, complicated, but beautiful projected proposal. So let's start, we'll work our way, I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions and comments afterwards, if we get from public if they will. Charlie, you want to start?
Yeah, thank you so much for the presentation. I'm curious to know a little bit more about the Circle Lines parking deck and if it will exist there for eternity or if there's sort of a lease on it. And is it in the long-term vision to have who parks it? Is it customers of Circle Line or is it people who are working Midtown and want to park their vehicle? And is there any way to reduce, we have all these solutions for safety, but reducing car volume would also be a good goal. Sure. It is part of the lease.
There is a lease there. I don't have the number of years left, but it's in the neighborhood of 20 more years. So there is no way to make that kind of change right now. What I would say is that the design here is something that we think can be adapted in the future. But right now we do not have a way to eliminate that garage that's there.
Thank you, Noreen.
And I think just on the other question, it is for parking, it is customer Circle, so we're driving to take the tour.
Got
You drive in, you get on the boat, then for, I'm sure it's many people here get on the night cruise, that sort of thing.
One more question for me, with the Uber drop-off area, are you seeing a lot of Uber traffic, at the same time? Like, is there potential for that drop-off area to back up, or they're blocking the bike lane because they're waiting in a line? We have problems with taxi stands and other parts of the city where that happens. It's true. We did count the cars, and we do feel in our traffic consultants field and circle line fields that space here is enough to accommodate the volume that they're seeing. Some of those Ubers are only just hanging out, waiting. So having the area specifically designed for drop off also helps with enforcement, because you can say, this is your spot. And there's a human there potentially, there's moving people along. And then the last thing for me, I just wanted to give 3 cheers for moving the bus stop to 9A. That, I know it's long term, but that would be incredible.
Sorry, you just mentioned the word enforcement, so what enforcement is being done or planned?
It's really maybe better for range as an operational issue, but currently it's difficult to enforce no matter who enforces it, because there's very little signage and very little lines on where to go. But it is on our property, and I believe PEP can issue parking tickets. But we are limited in PEP officers, and to be there constantly coaching Uber traffic is probably not the best use of the time. But once things are organized, it will be a lot more easy to enforce because it will be delineated.
And I will say, Circle Line does have right now, they have traffic managers at the front of them here, who are able to help. So exactly giving them a clear pathway for them to direct people will be helpful in that, beyond simply like the sort of path enforcement side, so that goes there. Some of this is particularly for something like the Uber drop off is somewhat self-regulating. If you're some people who move their cars will get like the taxis will move for each other. So it's gonna be a work in progress on exactly how that is done, but yes, the concept is that there are traffic managers in addition to the ability to do take that enforcement.
And also, I'll add that obviously Circle Line is our tenant. If we were to observe some delivery truck there all day long, we would be talking with our tenant in our landlord tenant capacity to expect them to address something that is not supposed to be occurring. But really, that has not been our primary issue in this zone. It's exactly as Kevin has described, a big blob of an area where vehicles, probably not mostly Ubers, to be honest. I mean, there are people like cars that will just sort of wait there while they're waiting for their friend because it's free. And, you know, by eliminating all of the frontage space where those things can happen, by greening it up and by dedicating zones with specific signage accompanying those zones, we think that we can basically make this area purposeful in a way that it never has been.
This is working around the. Sure, thanks, this is great, I love the thought that you put into this. My question is regarding the median, once it's, you move it out to 12, why not just have a bus shelter as if for the need or the want for shade? Is that because it's MTA?
We're not opposed to a bus shelter, it's just, we need to think that through. We don't have bus shelters elsewhere. Would we want an MTA shelter? Or I don't think states are not opposed to it. Seems like a good idea, but we're not that far along. Thank you.
Thank you, wonderful presentation, good ideas. Just as long as you're here, a little off topic, what about the heliport? How is that affected?
But
I mean, if big cars drive through, I mean, what's gonna happen with all that? I mean.
So I just and then just that on this one. So the heliport is ultimately like this project is from 29 to 44th Street, and there is the concept that we will work our way down there. Our focus here on this area is things that we can move quickly, which is why we're working in the areas that we really control ourselves. that we were able to make changes for money so we can deliver green to the community as fast as we can with funding, and now that we're able to do this, which is what Kevin's here to do, this street part of what this is. In the immediate for the heliport, there's a little project called the Gateway Tunnels, which are passing through that section of the heliport, coming now, in the coming months, they are already on part of the heliport right now. So there's gonna be massive disruption in that area for the next few years. I think you guys have seen a presentation from Gateway. I was here, I think, last month at this committee meeting, talking about sort of what that transportation is. So while that is playing out, like there isn't much change that's going to happen for there. There is always a concept for future planning with it, but we're just not there at this point.
Someday. Any questions on this? Yeah, nice.
Hey, this is a very handsome design and, moving that bikeway to the west will make it downright sexy. So, are there any concepts done for what that bikeway would look like to the west? And if possible, if that new alignment, you guys have concept of that out, is it possible to design for that in anything you build, so it's easier to convert in the future?
Well, everything we're proposing now doesn't prevent that from happening, which was a conscious decision, like we know that. What you would gain by shifting the bikeway, getting the bus stop on the other side of the bikeway is more planted area, basically. It's hard to program that, it's not big enough to have a basketball court. And it's kind of an island amongst things. But that's not to say it's not worth doing. Any green space we can capture, that's great. And then having the buses not crossing the bike lanes, obviously beneficial.
So it can be put in the future, not a major capital project?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, awesome, beautiful.
Question about the pier loading area, why not have that in the pier? Why does that have to be out there?
The pier, inside the pier is basically a parking garage for standard sized vehicles. I am pretty positive, we can double check this, but that there are delivery trucks that probably don't meet the clearance height and circulation space within the pier. It is actually more efficient and probably faster in and out for it to be not there. But I would bet that in addition, some vehicles literally don't fit inside.
Also a weight restriction. We have our peers spot.
We do require them in the lease though to be there, generally unless there's something exceptional early in the morning when it is really not the school buses and others are there. So, but the space needs to, the activity needs to occur, but we do control that in the lease.
Okay.
Anybody online? Janine?
Janine?
Any hands up? In the public?
They're not appearing to be.
I'm thinking. So besides, congratulations to a wonderful job at the HRPT Design Center. Any comments, any suggestions you want to make, or just do crew will come back and let us know how things are going.
I mean, should we, they have a plan of action.
Yeah.
So I guess what we're saying is we're supporting the plan of action.
Supporting the plan,
Right.
easy.
Okay.
We have a motion on that? Motion, second. All in favor? Moving on. Terrific.
Thank you. Wonderful job, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you for coming in person.
Yeah, happy to do it. Great job, Alan.
Thank you very much. Turn it back to you.
The next topic is, we have, I think, people from Gotham, residents from Gotham and Covenant House, who want to present on some concerns they have with the Port Authority interim ramps. Do you have a slides that you?
Janine has.
Janine has that, okay. Good. That's not. It's good over there, it's good over here.
Okay,
Yeah.
ready to go?
Yes.
Thank you, first of all, for giving us time to speak to you. It's a lot of us, there are very few people on this board, but 100 years ago, I came here every month as a city council member, so you know, it's we're here really urgently and in person, because there's a big problem. I think there's a real easy solution. And I'm gonna let Wade Stevens tell you what it is, and then I'm also gonna let Shakima North from Covenant House sort of put the human face on the problem. I'm gonna say very briefly why we're here. As you're well aware, the Port Authority proposed a major overhaul of the terminal. The pictures they showed, you've seen in the past, a year ago, didn't actually delineate where they wanted to put ramps, and Wade will give you the detail, but just so you can envision it, the building 550 10th, brand new houses, both teams from Covenant House, some formerly unhoused folks, as well as up for general affordable and market rate. The plan is to put a ramp in the sidewalk, abutting the building at the shortest distance of 4 feet and the widest distance of 15 feet. So imagine less than the width of this road going to be, that there's a ramp right there outside your residential window. There's no need for it, so I said it's a big problem, because if you lived there, if you were getting bus fumes into your operable window, worry. But the easy solution, we think, because it's already budgeted for to build these what they call temporary 7-year ramps, is simply to move them abutting the Port Authority storage shed. So why they put them across the street is unclear. There's no ramps there now, there's no ramps leading to there. They have ramps within the building, and those ramps could, the temporary, we think, could be built up close. So I'm gonna let Wade give you some details so you really have the particulars, but just the big picture is one of the port has been communicative now, and we've aware that there's some very senior oversight by the port saying, oops, maybe we goofed. I'm not wanting to quote them, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but we're not here whining and complaining they won't talk to us. They're now talking to us. What we really want is a deadline and kind of commitment of outcome, and I'll give you the easy solution. Street's about 54 feet wide. If they put them butt up against their side, that would probably take about 20 to 24 feet. Would we love it? No, but Gotham and Covenant House are civic minded, as are you, and stuff's gotta happen, as we heard you talk about earlier. So this is just saying, meet us at kind of somewhere in the middle, but not literally up against the windows of, first of all, these teenagers who, haven't had a home and now do. So let Wade Stevens, who's an architect from Gotham Development, which built the building in partnership with Covenant House, give you the particulars, and then Shakima can really give you some, real life stories. Thank you very much.
That's it. Thanks for having us here tonight. I'm Wade Stevens, Vice President of Development at Gotham, and I was the development manager for 550 10th Avenue, and been working with the community board for a very long time in this neighborhood. So thanks for having us. And Shakim is going to talk a little bit at some point about Covenant House. So a number of years ago, we partnered with Covenant House to develop this property and develop a new building for Covenant House at the same time. So I'll give you just a brief introduction. This is West 40th, and you're the community board, so you know the neighborhood. So I'm gonna skip through the orientation quickly. This is West 40th, 10th Avenue, 41st. This is the tower, 45-story residential tower, 454 apartments, 137 affordable apartments, and 316, market rate apartments. We finished the building a year ago. We're almost fully leased. We have 16 more affordable tenants to move in and 20 more market rates. So we're effectively fully leased, fully occupied with people living here in your neighborhood. This is Covenant House next door, Covenant House New York, that we built in partnership with Covenant House for them. They had a previous facility here, which we built this building, bought this building, demolished this one, and built a new one. Next slide.
So this is the building that we built. This is 40th Street, this is 10th Avenue, and this is the area, 40th Street on this block, this is community over here. 40th Street on this block is the main interest of our conversation tonight. Next slide.
Susie, can you show Covenant House there?
Covenant House is around the corner.
It's inside.
It's inside. This is Covenant House's outdoor terrace and garden. So they have an event space back here and a rental space for the residents to go out and enjoy the south views. Next slide. This is looking from across the street from 595 10th Avenue, which is Excel's building, looking at the front entrance of the residential property. And this is the existing ramps over here on the Port Authority side, the south of 40th Street. Next slide, please. So this is Covenant House. And this is the building that we built next door. Next slide. And I'll let Shaq talk a little bit about Covenant House.
Yeah, so again, I'm Shakima Albert, I'm CEO of Covenant House, New York, and so at Covenant House, we provide housing and support services for young people who are experiencing homelessness. We serve about 1,500 young people every year, and provide about 131 nights of housing to those young people who need it. And this particular building is our crisis shelter. We have 120 young people in this building alone. We are always full, so there's never really an open bed. And this is the space where young people who are coming out of chaotic situations are looking for peace and rest. And when we erected this building with the support of Gotham in November of 2021, we did so with the needs of our young people in mind. It was a purpose-built space where we promised them a space where peace and tranquility, that they can also work to on the traumas that they have experienced, but also to gain the life skills, education, and employment things they need to really overcome homelessness and sustain themselves once they leave our facility. This is one of our residential bedrooms. And so, as I said, we have 120 kids here, six floors of residential services, 20 young people per floor. But then also we have support services in the space. So we have a very qualified health clinic in the site that is also open to the community because it is an FQHC. So many of our patients are not just our young people, but they're also community patients who are residing in the area. Again, like I said, we have workforce programming, full cafeteria, full gym, music studio, everything that young people needs to support them. And so one of our concerns, and we're just going to share a bit more, but one of our concerns really is just around safety. And then, because we want to have an interim egress that is appropriate for the young people and our staff who are in the space. And the other concern is around quality of life for young people. And then also important for me to mention too is this building was built with a lot of private dollars, but also public funding. And so we have a lot of dollars through federal, city, state funding, and to build it and also to currently operate it. And so most of our operations is funded by DYCD, HUD, HRSA, many of those organizations, and they have regulatory compliance guidelines that we need to meet, and have a ramp that is 1.2 feet away from our door, so 2 to 4 feet will impact our ability to really meet those regulatory requirements. And for us, it's a concern because if we can't meet that, then that might impact what our funding looks like.
Thanks, Chad. Next slide, please. So this is the back of Covenant House with their courtyard. The back, but it's also the front because they do have a door here. They come in and out, and they will transition operation from in and out daily.
Yeah, so this here is, sorry, so this is our light source entrance, so the ramp is gonna be 2 feet here. And then kind of come around 4, right? And so this is our bike source entrance. So most of our young people rely on transportation through their bikes. They use their bikes for transportation, so will impact their ability to access their mode of transportation. And again, this is our exit. So you staff use this as an exit. We also do all of our deliveries on the 40th side, 40th Street side of our building.
What's the height of the wall there?
This wall is, it's about 10 or 12 feet
Yeah.
long.
Well,
And yeah, and so I'll show you later the height of the ramps that the Port Authority.
yeah, but I,
Is proposing. And I'll show you a photograph later, but this corner of the building here is our service entrance to 550 10th Avenue. It's also an egress there. And it's also the lobby for the new Covenant House facility on the second and third floor of this building. So in part of the partnership, we built an office condo for Covenant House International to bring, and one of their programs is to bring in the other Covenant House groups from other cities, but also larger in the support community internationally, to bring people in, other organizations and train them. So this is a very important facility for them. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and so the ramp will block both the whole and what we're calling the innovation
yeah, we're
center.
going to see.
Yeah.
On the side.
Next slide.
Yeah, you wanna.
Yeah. So this is
Second floor
the
terrace.
second floor terrace of Covenant House, looking south. So the proposed ramps are basically right across here.
So the second floor is flush with that, with the street?
With the street.
sidewalk?
No,
It's
there's a courtyard
Yeah.
beyond
Yeah.
here.
So this is away
Yeah.
from the.
Yeah, I'll show you the plan on the
Yeah,
next slide.
courtyard, this one.
Okay.
So you're standing right here, looking at, from this terrace, this is the courtyard, this is the sidewalk here,
Okay.
okay? And this is the exits, this is our residential lobby. And then this is all ground floor retail here, which we're in the process of opening now. Next slide, please. So you're familiar with the Port Authority's plan, existing ramps, 10th Avenue, 550 10th Avenue, Covenant House, and the new staging and storage facility that the Port Authority is proposing. And the ramp structure. So again, we're interested in this block from 10th Avenue over to Dyer is the subject that we're talking about tonight. By the way, we're in favor of this project and have been for years when the Port Authority first presented it to us. We think it's good, particularly with the ground floor retail. It's a great improvement to the neighborhood. We don't like having construction next door, but it's our business too, so we know things gotta be done.
worked hard for that.
I know you do, and thank you. Next slide, please.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, next slide, please. So the adjacent building, the Port Authority is proposing across the street. And this is 10th Avenue, this is the elevation, so there's 54 feet. As this was shown to us, last June. was
This is 10 up.
This is 10th Avenue, this is 40th Street,
Ah.
excuse me, this is 40th Street, and still. So we first saw this last June, when we asked the Port Authority, hey, what's up, what's going on, what are you planning across the street? Because we'd only seen the publicly presented material. They had not approached us. We reached out and said, we'd like to know what's going on across the street. So 54 feet. They're projecting the building 14 feet and a height of 50 feet above the street. And it's 166.
So above it's going to be 40 feet, right?
This is 50 feet.
Yeah, minus, and then when you go above the recess.
Yes, then it's 40 feet.
40 feet. Right.
40 feet from here
Right.
to here is the proposal. Next slide, please.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about, so here, so that's the working foot protection. Next slide, please. You guys may have seen these slides before from that work, or,
I have seen.
okay, so this is the 54 feet, they're proposing a 5-foot widening on the north side, 36 feet, 3 lanes. and a 13-foot sidewalk, 13 feet change, 13 feet 6, depending on where you measure it. Next slide, please. So this is a slide from their FEIS, where they show changing the traffic patterns. Some of you may have seen this as well. And again, they show some sort of bus traffic and some sort of potential ramp up here. But again, this is a cartoon. This is the diagram. It's a fat line on a piece of paper. Next slide, please. So about 3 weeks ago, again, we had asked for updates, and about 3 weeks ago, the Port Authority came to us and said, hey, we want to show you something. And they showed us this slide, which I had to draw in this building here because God knows how old this Google map image is. But this is their proposed, and again, raise your hand if you've seen this before in terms of the Port Authority's proposed quote interim ramps. So in order to build this staging and storage facility built here, the Port Authority is currently proposing 2 ramp structures. One starts at 11th Avenue on the south side of 40th Street. It rises, it crosses 10th Avenue, and continues along as drawn by the Port Authority, the north side of 40th Street. There's a second ramp which starts
the north side above the sidewalk.
above the sidewalk. Yes, up against our building. And I'll show you the plan in a second. And there's another ramp that starts at the corner of 10th and 40th on the south side against the sidewalk and slopes up. And both those ramps then join the existing ramp structure into the port.
Let me make a comment for everyone. And the reason why they need those ramps is that they cannot, while they are building the storage facility, they cannot continue to use the existing ramps. So they have to replace them with the yellow ones while they are doing that construction.
Can I interject? Maybe. In other words, as Wade said, we're generally favoring the project, so, and we're not gonna re-engineer their thing. But they're actually building over top of ramps in other places, and while that might be more costly, and we're not demanding that, I don't wanna say they have to. I wanna say this is the preferred design.
No, I'm saying they have to build alternative ramps.
Yeah, but those ramps could be actually inboard of their property in theory. We're not asking for that.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Right,
Because I mean, they are building a building and you can ask, so.
The building consists of ramps and parking spaces for buses.
Yeah, parking spaces.
We build buildings all the time where we leave out a bay on the end of the building.
Right.
For logistics reasons, for timing, and then we come back, we build it later.
And
So,
I'm not an expert.
I agree with you.
Yeah, so
He is. but-
So just show the.
I'm gonna show what the court's proposing.
Right. Keep
Yeah.
going.
Next slide, please. Again, these are those 2
Same.
ramps overhead. Next slide. So this is a plan view. The ramp that starts at 11th, comes across, goes up. It angles across 10th Avenue. And at this corner, it is above the sidewalk and within 15 feet of the corner of our building. Then it proceeds even closer to within 4 feet. This is a Port Authority drawing, by the way, within 4 feet of the corner. And it's a Port Authority drawing that we saw the first time 3 weeks ago.
We understand.
Okay. Then it continues within 2 feet 11 of the corner and the back elevation of Government House.
So Port Authority mentioned that?
Yes. This is the CUNY building. And then it comes within 18 inches of the CUNY building.
Which is empty.
I'm sorry?
Which is empty. The CUNY building.
CUNY is empty.
Yes, which is empty.
Thankfully, for a little while, it wasn't empty, sorry.
And the other one is under it.
The other one is under it, and by the way, there's a bulb on this end, which you'll notice in a slide later, I think. they may have redesigned this ramp. It's hard to tell with Port Authority drawings in terms of what came before what, because there are dates that they say don't count on the drawings. But there's a drawing you'll see later where the start of this ramp actually is back here somewhere, and it doesn't project as far in.
So what happened here?
Can we go back to the slides?
Yeah, we lost your name, we lost.
She'll have to come back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, they're not stacked one over the other.
No.
Side by side.
Oh, even at 10th Avenue?
Yeah.
Yeah, they overlap slightly.
They do.
But they're not.
They're not directly stacked.
I don't know what happened. She's gone. Okay.
So this.
So give us some of the measurements, like the height of we saw the measurement of the height of.
This is just coming from my computer, so you can. Okay, that's great, right, perfect. Then we won't have the latency either. Okay.
Oh,
good.
Jesus. She's back. Who's doing that?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I got kicked off. I'll reshare.
Okay,
Got
I've
it?
got it for now. I think I've got it now.
Okay.
If you were sure, that's fine.
So you want to
Next
go
slide.
to the next slide, right?
Yeah.
Right. What's the same thing we said?
So, yeah. So
Here is important.
this is important because this is a section taken from this issue. So
Right.
I'm gonna move over here now. So the sidewalk is about here. And they're proposing a single pier system with the elevated ramp.
Which is how high?
So again, they don't dimension it, I'm guessing from their drawing, they show the top of this ramp is drawn with a wall on the side of it. The top of that wall is 37 feet, so I mean, I could guess that this is about
Alright.
16 to 18 feet.
37 feet, what is in the Gotham building at 37?
So this is our lobby. This floor and this floor are Covenant House's office space, which has operable windows.
Is it living spaces? Like.
No, it's our
Our office space.
our
Just
office and
space.
innovation center.
Office and.
And what center?
The innovation center.
Okay.
So no one's sleeping there, right?
No one's sleeping on the Covenant House second.
But directly above that, on the fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh floors are apartments.
Yeah.
And on that elevation, there are 20 apartments. Of those, 8 are affordable and 2 are housing formerly unhoused tenants, and they're living there now.
But the top of the structure is facing office space, right?
Directly
Yeah.
in elevation, yes. But directly above it, above the bus on it, is an apartment. Are 4 apartments there, 4 there, 4 there, 4 there.
Right. And what's happening on so the level is what, 37 feet you said? So on the Covenant House, you said your wall was 12 feet of it, right?
So just to diagram, the top of that wall is not there.
Right.
And that view that we saw before, looking out from the second floor terrace,
Right.
is looking directly at this ramp. But directly in elevation of the giant. And the wall on the side of it.
Yeah, my understanding of the wall is that the sound is a sound barrier. We asked them to put the wall there.
That's great, but
To say it's a sound barrier.
sound goes up too. Sound also comes off this building down.
Since we did our best.
By the way, the FAIS says that the sound was studied, but it did not study these ramps.
No, yeah, I know. I know.
Okay.
How high is that wall?
37.
The top of it's 37, again, I have to guess.
It's like one of those construction barriers, so you're going to have, 6 feet above a base.
No. So 6 feet above the base with the buses run.
Yeah.
And the buses are high, how high? Any idea?
10 feet, 11 feet higher?
Yeah, it's probably 10 to 12 feet for a bus, so at the top of that wall is probably 10 to 12 feet.
Right.
Oh, so that wall is about 10, 12 feet.
Right.
If I had to guess,
Possibly.
again, it's a cartoon on the page that I saw 3 weeks ago.
So what drawings did the Port Authority give you?
This one.
And the other one, that's it.
That's it.
Right,
Wow, okay.
that's what we saw
Okay.
in the
But
work.
just to be clear, what you saw last June 21 and 24,
No, we saw that.
did not show anything on our side of the street at all.
Well, that's true, because they didn't have the interim ramps.
Right.
They figured their traffic people finally figured their ramps, and then they came and presented. And we told them, this is awfully close.
Yeah.
I mean, and then we asked whether they were talking to you, and they said, oh, yeah, we're talking to them.
When did they say that?
I have to go back, but this is
I mean,
maybe
I
this is probably 3 or 5 weeks.
I can honestly say the first time that we saw these ramps was August 28th.
Yeah.
Which is about 3 weeks ago.
Right. So that was about that time. And they said, oh, yeah, we're talking to them, so we said, okay. They open to tell them what they want.
And you guys think it should be somewhere else, the other side of the street, right?
It could just, butt up against their building, which is a storage barn.
Is the presentation over?
Maybe it makes the construction a little.
I have some more.
Oh,
Yeah, let's.
That's me. Next slide, please.
Right.
You can keep going, next slide. Yeah, next slide.
Thank you.
That's,
want to show this one with the pitching fee? Maybe not.
that's fine.
Right.
We can stop.
I think that's the essence,
the stuff.
that's the essence. So.
I'm not sure that that's the right PDF that I sent over, but that's fine. This is enough for the conversation.
So let me, have anybody has any question? Yes.
So what has the conversation been with the Port Authority when you said that we'd like this not to be so close? What is the conversation?
They said we want to keep talking and we are going to move it as best we can, but we want to manage expectation, and that may only be slightly. I think, the good news is, I'm convinced, having myself been in government and understand the port a little bit, that they understand and have acknowledged this is not good. And that, implicit in that is maybe whoever designed it didn't take all of this into account. So give them the benefit of the doubt. I think as we've thought about it in the just few weeks we've had, if they would say, we will move it to our side, which I can acknowledge may be harder to build the wall behind it where they're gonna build the shed. Okay, but not impossible. I think that would be, we don't wanna design for them, but why are they putting it on this side across the street when they can put it on their own side of the street? That's simple logic. And we'd sort of rather have this get resolved sooner rather than go to endless meetings where he gets to talk to engineers at the port. That's not our job, is to design it. We're trying to be helpful to say we want to move it across the street. But I think this creates, first of all, we don't think this was approved in New York, just to be sure clear, okay, because they didn't show it. So they're pulling permits on a project that maybe they don't, but we don't want to go down the legal rabbit hole. We just want to solve the problem. And we would hope that you would at least take a position and say, move it as far south as you can, or get it away from the building as best you can. And that would be very helpful, and I don't think an unreasonable request.
Yeah.
So you think that this conversation would be aided by a letter from us in support of what you're suggesting to them? Just to sort of solidify what you already feel is a positive motion by them to move, or?
I think if they could keep it as is, they'd be just as happy to do so. I think they understand that so many people have already weighed in. The Covenant House obviously is a very, very, very sympathetic actor here, and that this is really bad. And none of us would want to live with a wall right there. So I think they're intellectually committed, and I think that goes to the highest level of the report. I'm using that phrase because that's their phrase. But intellectually committed and saying, okay, we're gonna move it X feet across away from you, so we can relax, calm down, and get back to running Covenant House.
We have tenants that are living there now. We have tenants that will lease. We have renewals that'll come up next year. We have tenants that won't rent there. So we'll have vacancy.
Yeah, I think.
And the Port Authority has not told us how long those ramps are gonna be there. We have to.
Well, we could be there 7 years.
I thought you said 7 years.
6 years, 7 years.
Okay.
So this.
But, you know, it could be another year.
Just to answer your point, this morning we had a meeting with the working group, and we raised that, and they exactly said what you're saying, which is, this is at the highest level right now. Everybody understand, everybody has made phone calls.
Right.
They understand they have to do something.
Okay.
It's probably not exactly what everybody wants, but, they have to.
What we really want is to all.
The best they can to solve that problem, and it is a very high priority. So I think what we've heard, so what we wanted to do is add our voice to that, saying this is really incredible, this is an issue, and we need to fix it pretty much, as you were saying.
And just candidly, they have said, look, this is the kind of problem at a price that can certainly be fixed completely to our satisfaction. We're open-minded to something less than quote completely, but I think they already budgeted for these ramps, so relocating them south in and of itself doesn't add budget.
Right.
It may add cost to their construction on the other side.
So, yes,
Why don't we put something in where we give it to their complete satisfaction and let the port walk it down?
Bless
okay,
So it seems like that critical 150 feet in from 10th Avenue on 40th is really the thing we're concerned about, right? The 150, 140 feet, whatever that is, until the city building, right?
Yeah.
So none of us at the stable have seen any CDs from the Port Authority, but if they could theoretically increase the grade of one of those ramps and then move over the portion we're concerned about farther south, right? The northern ramp farther south, that might be acceptable. So it's not even moving the ramp across the street, it's moving as far away as possible from the building, right? So there's a lot to work with, I think, and I don't think they're designed to the maximum grade, probably not, it's probably designed to a comfortable grade.
say that again, I missed that.
It's steeper.
Yeah, make it.
Or maybe it's steeper,
we-
the buses are very specific.
Well, of course, you designed to that.
And I
but
don't
it
think,
seems like-
we need necessarily, I think it's a good idea, I don't think it's necessarily we have to design.
No, I'm just saying we should have prescribed a solution.
But
We should not prescribe a solution. We shouldn't say move it across the street, because that might not be what they have to do to get it away from that building.
Yeah.
But
I mean, something as simple as get it, across the street.
Well, it's getting it as far as possible.
Yeah,
exactly.
Those, from those units.
But to be clear. Moving it 2 feet and having the answer be that
Yeah,
that
it
is as
doesn't
far as
necessarily,
possible,
yeah.
that's not sufficient.
Well, what is sufficient? Because I've lived on the ground floor of a building before, the sidewalk's 5 feet, and there's buses and trucks over there, and I live there. I mean,
Well,
like, what is acceptable? Like,
can you bring up the plan?
Yeah.
So, let's just talk nitty-gritty about how that street works.
Sure.
Okay, because on the backside, Covenant House has deliveries.
Mhm.
We have deliveries, we have move in, move out. This morning, and unfortunately, it's on the other PDF, that Janine, this morning, they started drilling test pits on the north side of the street. They happen to have a permit for the south side of the street, haven't seen the permit for the north side of the street either.
They told us that they were doing it on the north side to see, well, whatever, to see
Yeah.
what they could do.
I know why they're doing it, what I'm saying is their DOT permit that I found from the DOT says south side of the street, or says north side of the street.
And we shared with them, there is a spirit of collaboration and information sharing. We shared with them all of the work that was done in this building was built.
Right.
To show where the Con Ed vault is, or the below grade
yeah.
stuff is,
Yeah.
which frankly may prohibit what they wanna do
Yeah.
anyway. I think keep it simple would be very.
But what was your point when we were saying how many feet away you wanted it?
So, right now, the sidewalk is about here. Okay, and right now, there are 3 lanes here. On 40th Street, the Port Authority uses to get to the terminal right now. And there's a 13-foot sidewalk. So this is the only entrance that we have to service this building.
This is not what I'm asking, I'm asking how much do you want?
What I want it all the way up to Earth.
On
So
the-
if you
I want
have
3 lanes of traffic.
and their sidewalk
But
currently is 5.
those
It'd be about
lanes
9.
are what, 19 feet, the one wide?
There's an
So,
11,
more
it's on the other slide, there's an 11, 11, and a 13. So the road bed.
No, I'm not talking about road bed, I'm talking about the ramp,
Width of the ramp.
the width of the ramp.
They haven't told me how wide they're at.
We think around 11, 12.
Yeah.
Oh, more than that, I think it's 19 feet.
No.
So why don't you just say that they should move it significantly to the south side? Significantly. If you don't.
So as far as if it's possible, I'll say at a minimum, what has to happen, just functionally.
Yeah.
Is, again, this is our move in, move out, okay? So we have garbage drop off, we have garbage pickup there, we have move in pickup there, so if they're gonna take. If they're gonna take 2 lanes for a ramp. There has to be a lay-by over here and passage before and after that to get past. Okay, we're not allowed to do everything on 10th Avenue, neither would we want to. There's a bus stop right here, or 41st Street, because that's their front door. And we can't get there with all of our service over here. Inside the building, we can't get there.
And right now, buses are using 41st Street as a parking lot, so all from that
And you're
area
going
to
to
the center.
send you for the first.
Yes, so you don't have any.
Yeah.
Aren't the ramps being built so that one bus can go around another bus in case
Yeah.
they start?
That's what I'm saying, then.
And so, I mean, I've lived in apartments 5 feet from the street before, you know, in a ground floor level unit. So I totally get this, but say they can't move it that far, they can only move it 2 feet, and it's 6 feet, instead of that 4-foot dimension, it's 6 feet. Can we limit the speed of the buses to make that hindrance less? Like, say we tell the porter they're going slower?
We don't know. So you're asking a question that.
Well, I'm just saying if that's acceptable, maybe what concerns you guys?
It's 13 feet, yeah.
Yeah, they gotta have those sidewalk, that's 13 feet.
This would be.
No.
That's going down the path you're going down, how about this out a little bit? I think if you were able to say, move it as far as possible,
I'll make a.
physically possible.
Yeah, that's it.
That's a place that if they then say, well, physically possible plus 2 feet, maybe we'd have a discussion, but.
My question is, if they can't move it that far, and if they can move it to 5 feet, a foot more than right now, is that gonna be an issue? I mean, I don't think that's an issue.
But I think with respect to
The only thing we can do
distinction,
is
Yeah.
that we move it as far as possible.
And they work with the building to sort of
Yes.
brief them on it, work with the loading dock and all of those issues and like.
right,
please work with them.
but I
And it's
think
not destructive.
they're further down the road, if I can make a pun, than even you are. They, I think, understand that anything that is 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet, and sort of in the, isn't really solving the problem, particularly for Covenant House.
Yes.
And, you know, we haven't raised with you money, right? The market value, the fact that people will move out, blah, 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 because this is really about quality of life for people. But I don't know the street you live on, but I'm guessing that you don't have the volume of buses constantly passing
No, I
by.
get it.
Fields that come
Sure,
through.
that block has been the.
So do we have,
Yeah, there's some, you have to accept some.
Oh, believe me, we are more than accepting of that, in fact, so accepting of it, that until we saw those drawings, we didn't comply.
So we have a
By-
motion,
yeah,
we
right.
have a motion, sorry, you have.
I mean,
Second.
yeah, motion.
We have a motion, we have seconded, Janine, we have people online which are, raised their hands.
No, there's no hands up.
Okay, so we have a motion that says that we're going to ask for them to move the ramp as far as feasible.
I make a friendly make, move it across the street, like they asked, and then let them
We should
work
have
it
said
back.
that. No, as far as the can
As
south.
far as it is, the same thing, it's a cost,
Yeah.
same thing. So, and that's it, so,
And work with the building.
right.
And,
In
you know, in good faith.
Right, so, all in favor? Good.
Thank you very much, thank you.
And you want to take it, appreciate your time.
Okay. Okay. We have the 17 stretch. Okay, so the next topic, all very interesting topic, Penn Station Public Rail. So the background is that recently Penn Station has changed management, direction, etc. Penn Station is now managed by Amtrak and the feds. And Byford has become the head of the project. And we know for a fact that they are preparing RFPs to two different RFPs. One is for the circulation and circulation in the station. And another one to rebuild the station, the outside of the station. But it has come to our attention that the public rail is not part of this RFP. So wanted to bring you back what was done and under the former administration, all the work that was done, and see if we can, if this is something that we could ask the Penn project to embrace. Because we know that if the forecourt and the front yard of the station is as crummy as it is today, I think having the most beautiful building in the world is not going to help. So we need to step in. And we're really lucky that WXYZ Claire was accepted to make a presentation of what were the findings of the task force that was done in, I think, 2022.
2023. There was a 2022 also, but this is, yeah, 2023 and very end of the year.
Yeah, so take it away.
Okay, great. I'm not going to take long, but what I brought, which is available for anyone, it's public, still on ESD's website, which is the final meeting, the CACWAG. As Christine knows, and I think I sent her a copy, there is a final report. It's never been publicly released, but the report really covers where the task force, their recommendations. The task force is, and I'm going to really focus on the public realm at Penn Station and came to some very important conclusions. I did want to remind everyone the task force was really broad, held down by the community boards, state senators, congressmen, council people, many people who are still involved in Penn Station, and then all of the railroads, Madison Square Garden, and the governor's office, paid for by the governor's office and Regional Plan Association. So I want to skip ahead that the goals were a unified transportation hub, a green district, and accessibility. That came from the 2022 work. And, really the process, ask a lot of questions and try to get some concrete recommendations, which it did. So it went through 3 meetings, workshops, people worked together on this. And I'm just going quickly through these topics and goals that people set to end up with a plan. So there is a plan that came out of this. And, again, the key agreements were on what's the actual experience of public space? How do we have a reliable, no matter what the weather, things break down, how can we rely on the garbage pickup, the signage, who's managing things? And then how do we make sure that we're planning for the future? So that was the key part. And I'm going to skip ahead because that was the whole process that's still up there, and skip over the principles and go right to the plan. So the plan tried to deal with the fact that in addition to having the transit improvements, the huge demands on the sidewalks, once you have below grade connections and train connections, you still don't have a street and sidewalk plan here. And so the existing, if you look at this, imagine gray means other than sidewalks, pretty much cars can go everywhere, except for now Plaza 33. So this shows you the near term. You can see where Plaza 33 is. We have, again, it detailed with city DOT. And so the proposal in purple is this managed district, pedestrian priority, but time of day, closures, you manage it, bollards, deliveries can occur, but it's not, private cars can't go everywhere. They're very specific, detailed plans for truck loading and deliveries. for taxi and Uber pickups, for people who are using ride shares, but also for handicapped users of different ride services. So we went through this detailed plan looking at both the avenues and 31st and 34th to have a pretty amazing results, including the agreement of city DOT to truly have a pedestrian forward district. Now, this is when you ignore the block 780. This is when in the context of the GPP, but still there was an agreement amongst everyone that there would be really a kind of pedestrian priority district. And so we went through how Madison Square Garden could manage it. We went through what would constitute limited access streets that were all plaza, streets that had limited access streets with freight, where the examples were those, how even the Highline Connector in Moynihan has started to set up this multi-level set of connections. And then, at the time, we went through how do you do this? Which projects would come first? And this is what you're looking at here. How to do a high quality materiality, and how to harken back to the original Penn station and look at stone and other materials, how to not look at light poles everywhere, how to look at even below grade trash collection, overhead lighting. Look, if there were some really great ideas out there, 550 Madison is an example. Other ones, even Penn Station today with the big ceilings, Milan Galleria, there's a real opportunity here to actually look at a climate resilient situation so that it's not just about being in the buildings. It's the whole mobility district. The whole district is about encouraging public transit, walking, and safe crossings on all levels. So, I think that really to come to the chase, I'm not going to go through where there was no decisions made about phasing avenues first versus 32nd Street or 31st. And I'm going to stop sharing at this point. And that's really, I wanted to go through at Christine's invitation and remind people of the extensive work that had gotten done to set up the kind of final investments that would really make this truly a world-class mobility district, and somewhere special for the community, because it was not only about being inside a building, but really being able to, get off the 2-3 train and actually walk outside to an entrance to maybe a future better New Jersey Transit entrance, or take a bike on a train, or have way more places to even secure store bike, and to avoid having trash everywhere, and very clear signage, and even knowing when trains were leaving from the outside of the station, not just the inside. So I will stop there.
Great. So the idea is to take those concepts and put them in the letter and send it to Light Board, Amtrak, the Secretary of Transportation, DOT, and say, don't forget that. It should be part of the RFP, because some of those things are going to affect how the station is built, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it should definitely be funded. It's probably not the biggest ticket amount, but it's like, if we don't have that, the rest is not going to work properly. So that would be the resolution to send out. I made some notes. The thing, we would not be prescribing a solution, but we would be asking for a general objective, like a seamless single level pavement, right? Which goes from inside to the outside, weatherproof area with lighting, or separation between the street and the station, signage, shared streets.
Increased increased elevators that are visible, easy to access. There are many things in the plan as it was finalized a year, 2 years ago, that I think addressed many of the concerns that.
Right. And so, that would be kind of the concept, is sending a letter which has all those things and, citing the work which was done before. And say, let's not waste it, because this is the only thing of Penn Station that everybody agreed on. So that would be kind of silly not to put it in. So that's the idea.
Sounds great.
Do we have a motion? Motion?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? All right.
Great.
There, thank you so much.
Thank you
Send me
all
some-
so much. It was really an honor to be invited and to remind everyone of the hard work you all did.
Thank you.
Christine, is there a report or like a PDF of that entire plan or concept? Someone.
I can send you the report, but the report,
Not the meeting, like the report.
Yeah.
is that in the Dropbox? Or not?
Yeah, there's a link to this website. It doesn't have the report, it has like the.
Right.
The actual
I'll
report.
send you the report,
Yeah,
the
thank you,
report was never, less.
It wasn't, that's why we received it.
Why?
Got it, okay.
She was presenting the final meeting, it
Got
was a public meeting, the report is written,
Yeah.
but it's not blessed.
But can we take a look at it or no?
Sure, but I mean, you can't.
While that's coming, we can introduce ourselves. I'm Anthony Ventura. I'm an executive vice president for Prime Self-Storage. And with me is Anisha Hunter, the architect of record. So both of us will be sharing this presentation, and online is our chief compliance officer, Eric Clee. He's with us virtually. Thank you, Eric, for hanging in there. Appreciate that. And then Anthony Cadaglia, who did all the heavy lifting. He's our vice president of development. You joined us too, so thank you, Anthony, for joining us as well. We're very excited about our West 25th Street location. A portion of it is going to be turned into self-storage. But what I'd like to do to start off is just introduce our company. Prime Storage is located, headquarters is in Saratoga Springs, New York. It's a privately owned firm by Mr. Robert Moser, and he was a native New Yorker his entire life, being raised in New York, and then his family moving out to Saratoga Springs. The company has been in self-storage for quite a while. Most recently, in about 13 years ago, starting off with a commingled fund investment, and we've turned into one of the largest privately owned self-storage companies in the United States. We operate in multiple states, over 28 states across the country. We're also in Canada and the US Virgin Islands, so pretty aggressive growth. We're very proud of what we're going up against now into our 14th year. So I've been with the company since 2016. As I said earlier, I'm an executive vice president in charge of acquisition integration, which is a fancy title for helping new properties assimilate into our portfolio. So I'm a jack of all trades, as they would. So,
Let me ask, Janine, can you hear us?
Yeah, sorry, I'm pulling it up. I didn't have it saved. One
Okay,
second.
okay.
terrific. Thank you.
And what was that property before? The one that you are acquiring from it?
Well, we acquired it, and that part has an existing tenant that does event planning on the stadium, so they do some small events in there. Prior to it, it had a multiple use in office type suites, more of an open floor plan. It has a longer history than that, but that's the most recent. Or technical challenge there.
Did you send her, oh,
Here it comes.
Yeah, we do.
It's like a new one, not the landmark.
What? Not the land.
Yeah, just, so this is, it's a really nice looking building on West 25th Street. Can you move to the next slide, please? So we have all the locations in New York City, we have about 10 different locations, which you can see, picture of Bronx, Queens, and Brooklyn. Just as an example of what it looks like outside some of our buildings. Can turn that over. Next slide. So I want to bring up some statistics for you, just to understand the business itself and how it relates to what the community usage will look like. I think that's a big question. You know, we're gonna be developing into storage. What is that? What happens here? We have roughly about 542 units that are 5 by 5, 5 by 10, 10 by 10. So if you can imagine your head, closet, double closet, less than a bedroom size rooms are going to be the majority of these spaces, which will really meet the need of the local community. People just need a little bit more space. The nice design that Anthony put together offers 2 loading bays, and you'll see this later in the presentation, but they're over 21 feet long, and they'll be able to house conveniently a Sprinter van or regular usage of cars. Couple of other points of interest, our office hours. We're open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Post rush hour and pre-rush hour, right? So we're kind of outside of everybody's parameter of interfering with traffic flow. The other part too is our transactional history. For a business to start renting up, what does that look like, right? Is it gonna be this big rush? Well, I hope so. But our statistics really talk about 25 to 30 rentals per month, less than one a day. So that activity isn't as robust as you'd like to think it is. We like it, we retain the people that come in, but it really has a little bit of longer burn.
Can you clarify that? I'm sorry.
Sure.
Not for me.
Great.
So rentals per month, mean new rental?
Meaning the person moving into the property
Right.
It's empty. There's nothing in there.
Okay, but what about people coming and taking stuff out of there?
Well, that's what I'm gonna get to.
Okay.
So the 90 to 95% of a person storing sets it and forgets it. They go in, they move in, they leave it, and they usually don't come until they're ready to move out. A heavy user is extremely rare, and that's like once a week. Where someone's gonna come in, get a document, get a sweater, get a pair of shoes, whatever it is that they need. But that is very, very rare. Usually the activity is to move in, and then later on, when they're gonna move out, they come and get their things.
So when you do your math, how many visitors per day?
Per day?
Yeah.
It would vary. I mean, it's a hard thing to say.
Well,
If we get more than 3 or 4 a day, that would be a busy day for this.
Okay.
I would like to talk a little bit about how we're going to take care of pedestrian and traffic later on in the presentation. And I'd like to introduce Misha so she can talk a little bit about these next slides here. So you can take the next slide.
Thank you. My name is Misha Hunter, the Saltzman Architects for the Preservation Consultants of Prime, BWD, that you see on the footer of the screen as the architect of record for this adaptive use. So, as you may recall, from any of the colleagues on this board that sit on the West Chelsea Land Use Committee, we made a presentation to West Chelsea Land Use a number of months ago, received unanimous support, went to the Landmarks Preservation Commission for public hearing, received unanimous vote of support for the project. And then subsequently received a request from Jesse Bodine of Community Board 4, inviting us to come to the Transportation Committee. So that's why we're here. And again, as a, with Prime wanting to be that good neighbor, right, in the community, we said, okay, if you have some questions relating to this particular facility, we'd be happy to try to answer them. But we're gonna try. We're gonna try. So, just so that everyone.
Sorry for the.
Sorry?
Go ahead.
Okay. No, I'm sorry, I wasn't finished with that slide. Thank you. So, just to make sure that everyone is oriented to where we're talking about. The map on the left of the screen is the Landmarks Preservation Commission's, historic district map. And I identified the building, in blue, on that map. So you see the outline of the district in red, but the outline of the building is in blue. So it's on the north side of West 25th Street, located between 10th and 11th Avenues, right? So it's not immediately next to the High Line, it's one building to the west, okay? And then, just so that you see here, this is a 2018 to 19 Sanborn map. And at least at that time, the users at that time, the building were galleries, which is very common in the West Chelsea area. So if I can get the next slide, please.
Janine, can you hear?
Thank you very much. So, this is a photo of the existing conditions. So the building that we're talking about is the 4-story building, that has the 521 to 37, labeled on it for clarity. This is a building with street frontage of over 200 feet. So this is a very, very large building. When it was originally built, it was originally a light manufacturing warehouse building, for manufacture of, very thin, metal, foils, the Conley Foil Company building. And so if you smoke cigars or cigarettes, and I think the way that they keep the freshness is to preserve the freshness with these very thin foils. So foils were originally made in this building. Anyway, so the building, the 9-story building, immediately to the east is not the site. And the 2-story building immediately to the west is not the site. So we're really just focusing on this 4-story building with a projecting central tower in the middle. And I'm not going to give you the history over time, but essentially, there's been a lot of change over time in this building, including the introduction of loading bays and pedestrian entrances and whatnot. So, there's definitely been a narrative history of change. Can I get the next slide, please?
Oh, she's here.
Oh, next slide.
Thank you. I'll try to increase my voice. Okay, thank you. So, I just want to also show, an existing condition and then a proposed condition, just so that you understand, what we're talking about here. The approach, really to the facade is a really light touch on really just trying to work with the fabric of the building, and also accommodating the program, that is required for this, storage facility use. So the 3 bays that we're going to talk about primarily are these bays here, where the 2 loading bays are going to occur, that we're going to talk about. And then the main, lobby entrance, for the storage facility. So those 3. And then just for your interest, in case anyone has any concern, the site will be, barrier-free accessible, with an elevator that already exists opening directly onto the sidewalk. So, can I get the next slide, please?
I see it works.
I can't enunciate. Okay, so this is a proposed plan. So again, just following through with what we were just talking about in the render, the 2 loading bays here, and then the main lobby entrance here, and that barrier-free access, for vertical circulation to the elevator here. Okay, so again, just that very long frontage, but what we're really talking about is more on the eastern side or eastern wing of the building. Can I get the next slide, please? Thank you. Okay, So just to drill down a little bit more into the loading bays, we have a zoomed in detailed view of the two loading bays. Obviously in proposed condition, the temporary metal stairs that exist will be taken away. And there are no curb cuts as part of this work. Already the sidewalk slopes directly to roadbed. So no curb cuts were requested, none are being sought. And if you can see the dimensions for the loading bays, we've got 21 by 11, 8 by 11. So just to try to give you a visual, what Tony was talking about, these Sprinter vans, if they're coming in, my understanding is that they would not in any way block the pedestrian pathway on the sidewalk. So they'd be able to pull fully in to the loading bay. The people come and take their things or empty out or bring them back in, or however they do their move, and then can exit out of the loading bay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. And so I think we have that, which I think is really important. And larger trucks can park directly in front of the designated freight elevator for loading berths to unload. To maintain traffic flow and reduce curbside congestion, parking along the building frontage will be restricted to the truck loading only between 8 to 6. So you'll see that the city already has a protocol or requirement for parking. It says truck loading only Monday to Friday, 8 to 6 p.m. So that's a city sign. So Tony, if you would like to speak to that as well.
Yeah, so the thing to keep in mind is the volume of property coming into the building. An individual tenant renting a 5x5, 5x10, 10, even a 10x10 wouldn't fill a Sprinter van. The property just, that contents isn't enough. So the majority of people are going to be bringing this stuff in smaller areas, mostly using public transit. But we did give them ample room to be able to bring this stuff in. And if there is somebody that is from out of state moving into the city that needs that larger truck, that one space is gonna be more than enough space for them to come in and bring in a bigger truck. Bringing in bigger than a 30-foot truck just doesn't make any sense because the spaces aren't that big.
But your bays are 21 feet, they're not 30, right?
Yeah, they are, but if you have a larger truck right out front, in front of the elevator, there's a parking space for those types of vehicles.
How long does it take for a typical, loading and loading?
It takes maybe 15 minutes, and that's with the part, maybe. Okay, but we're gonna get to a bigger part of your question and then, because this is just people coming in with vehicles. As we know in the city, the majority of people we know, our tenants aren't coming in with vehicles. They're using public transit to get into the property. They're wheeling up luggage bags, they're taking in bags themselves. They're not taking vehicles into our properties. It's just not happening the way it used to.
Well, I can tell you that, yeah.
That's like other properties have parking lots.
See?
And people are actually parking.
Yeah, those other companies that have parking lots have 3 or 4 times the number of rooms that this building is offering. So if you're looking at one of our competitors is Manhattan Mini Storage, they're 3 or 4 times the size of that building that we're proposing.
But I know your other, so on what basis are you saying that people take public transit? On what basis are you saying people take public transit to move
And the
in?
majority, yeah, on other properties and.
Then why do your other companies have parking lots? And it looks like they,
Parking lots.
your other
From our
properties.
presentation earlier,
but your-
Right,
the
well,
Browns, Queens.
the other properties that we're buying were existingly built, so they were redeveloped. Those parking lots were there from previous businesses. So if you take a look at back to the slides, I can show them to you. They weren't designed for us, they were actually designed in manufacturing. So in Brooklyn and Bronx and in Queens, we took over factories and had those redeveloped into storage. The parking lots were there already.
So you're saying you just have and maintain those parking lots that nobody ever uses?
What kind of?
Like what, so
I don't understand.
So you're.
They weren't designed for usage of storage, if that's what you're leading towards, because you're asking.
But so you're arguing that most people will will bring all of their things that they want to store in a bedroom sized unit on the subway. Right, but then like,
Well,
if that's the
bedroom size
case,
unit
if
is
that's,
larger than a 10x10, right?
sure, okay, whatever, a 10 by 10 unit
It'd be this big.
on the subway. But if that's, like, what are you basing that on? Because for your other New York City facilities, people must be driving, right? Otherwise you don't have parking lots.
People drive to our facilities.
Right.
Not all of them do. We're seeing more people coming in on public transit than we have in the past. And basically, you have a lot of influence on that happening with current standards. You know, we're seeing people coming in with rideshare, but we're seeing people come in with
But rideshare would still need to unload.
Right, but that, we're still talking about a small vehicle that's coming out of the trunk, it's coming out of the back of the car.
Oh, but they still need a place to park,
And
right?
that's, why we have these new loading lots.
So I have a concern because we have had many issues with the other self-parking, okay? And then people say, oh, no, we're going to park parallel, and you know, those trucks, those big trucks, what they're going to do is go and put the back into it because they want to have the back in there. And they are going to be half over the sidewalk. So that's what we see, like a 30 feet truck. The other 30 feet truck, you say it's going to.
They wouldn't be able to fit inside that space.
Is it the existing holes in the side of the building? I'm sorry, you're not building a bigger bay.
No.
They're all, yeah, I just saw on Google Maps, they seem relatively small, maybe a tractor trailer could not fit in that.
Yeah, so I don't know, the size of the 21 is not even an SUV, right?
No, that's not true. An SUV is smaller than 21 feet long.
Oh, yeah.
The Sprinter
Many
is.
of them are.
going to keep us.
I've done the calculation and I have gone online and many of them are not, they are good. So it seems to me that the bays are too small. And most of your business is going to be accommodated by the truck and the parking lane or by trucks, mini trucks. SUVs
The
or
mini
whatever.
trucks and the mini SUVs are gonna fit here, but if they get bigger than that, which is gonna be very infrequent, you're talking about somebody renting a truck that they don't own.
Yeah.
Okay.
U-Haul.
U-Haul, and if you're gonna rent a U-Haul, you're gonna get it as close as you can to the size of the property that you're bringing into the facility. A 10x10 is, you're not gonna rent a 30-foot length truck for a 10x10 unit, which is a line.
I'm just challenging the fact that I don't think you can be safe, and we can be safe in assuming that these trucks are not going to overflow on the sidewalk. Because we know our experience with other delivery services. And so, and the fact that I think we had the same issue with Target, they built this very deep delivery bay. Right, and immediately the first truck say, I don't fit in that, I'm going to go on the sidewalk. So right then, 10th Avenue, right? So right then, it didn't fit. So my point is that I'm very concerned about what is going to happen on the sidewalk and how people are going to walk in front or next to the trucks.
Okay. I'm gonna go back.
Not your trucks, but
yeah,
their trucks.
Right, and again, people aren't going to be moving in with trucks that are greater than what their property contents are. And I wanna keep repeating that fact, because you're acting as if these trucks are gonna be 30 feet or greater, and they're not. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, but you're assuming that someone will rent one area. You can have a person who has a lot more stuff and rents 3 or storage spaces and consequently has a bigger truck, right? Nothing would.
And if they do, they have to pass through our customer service standards. And to rent a space, you're gonna call our call center, you're gonna go online. And you're gonna come in contact with our agents who are gonna give you specific guidance on what happens at the facility. Where to park, what to bring in, what's the ideal size. You're navigating into Manhattan, people understand where they're going. We're gonna give them guidance on what will fit, what won't, and that there is access to bring a larger vehicle, but it has to park out front. So it's not like it's just gonna be a free for all. They have to talk to us about what their renting needs are. We have to rent that space to them, and then we follow up on their moving day, again. We're not touching this on this call. Yes.
What's your biggest rule?
Just to,
I'm sorry.
sure, just to add a little more context, so I'm also on the Chelsea land use. And so this conversation is stemming from, concerns we had about the trucks on the sidewalk, as well as there's a school there at the corner. So we wanted to hear that you've had conversations with the school, because at any given time, children are coming out around that corner at 25th and 10th. So I think, those are the two things, the school, the small kids. And then, I think we had concern about the size of the trucks, and I think you're addressing that now, because we didn't know. And I think to Christine's question of how often how many visits will we have a day, we would be concerned, because that would be how many trucks would be there, and the kids are there, so that's what.
All great questions. The school and another nearby business, we have a slide for, we'll talk to that a little bit.
Right.
But we're talking about revisits. And you know, maybe I didn't impress upon what our tenant activity is, but it's not a constant use. It really isn't. People come in, they set their things in, and if they come back once a week, that's a lot. And if they are, they're not taking everything out. No one's doing it. They're putting everything in, and they may take a couple of things out with them and return, whether it's a document, some clothing, suitcase, whatever the property is. The biggest activity is move in or move out. Now, we didn't talk about this, but when people move in, it's about 1,200 days plus on an average person staying with us. So it's a long duration. It's not where someone's moving in and then 20 or 30 days later, they're moving out. They're sticking with us.
Don't you have, I'm sorry to jump in, but you have 400 units, right?
Mhm.
So even 1,200, I mean, 400 units. That's fairly frequent.
Once every 3 days.
Huh?
Once every 3 days. If it's only in like over a 4-year period, you divide by 4, then.
Yeah, they're not seeing you very often.
I think the bigger concern with that is it's a little disingenuous to give us the overall average, because I imagine that people cluster, right? Like, sure, there aren't that many move-ins and move outs, but I imagine that almost, you know, like, 60% of them are like in May, on May 15th, you know, like between the hours of 10 a.m.
So for peak rides.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I find it hard to believe that you will only ever have 3 people moving in or out at the same time.
So there is a peak to our seasonality, but again, this isn't a facility that we foresee a college type moving in and out, where you see a lot of peak and a lot of valley.
Why is that? Because FIT is like right around the corner.
Correct, but it's not something that we're forecasting a lot of college activity. We're looking at more the residential customer, like we've enjoyed with our other properties that are over 85. In renting with us. The size of the units, as you can see here, are more 10 bys, from the 20, from the 30. We've got some smaller units up front, but these are all larger units that a college kid would like half that size. They're not looking for big oversized units. But even if we had a peak month, 30 to, 25 to 30 units rented in a month is a lot. That's a lot of movement.
That's your average, though, you said. So that would really be a lot. That would be.
No, it's a lot. Yes,
What's the largest unit that you've had, size wise?
it looks like here it's probably about a 10 by 35, and there's gonna be maybe 2 or 3 of those.
Who would rent a 10 by 35?
Who would?
I mean, and just constantly come in with a carriage or, you know, a luggage. It would seem that someone with a vehicle, big one, would wanna fill up one of the units of that size.
Pull a car into the unit?
To fill up one of those units.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
don't have access to a car's control.
Is it a gift?
There's no driver.
for that size, I mean, why would you have a unit that big, knowing that you're gonna need?
There's collectors, there's people who maintain catalogs of things. Believe it or not, I just talked to someone last week at another property, they were bringing in tons of records. Doesn't go by. And
I'm officially confused why we have an issue with this. This is a great design, there's great use of this building, it's preserving a very historic building, I think it looks fantastic, it's obviously a thoughtful design too. They're doing 2 bays, which is gonna be majority of the use of people moving in and out, and people need a double park on the street, they can double park on the street, I mean, people do that all the time. This is less movement, it sounds like, than an apartment building of this size. So like, I'm just confused why we have an issue with this.
I mean, I totally agree with you, and I'll tell you why. Do you have a way to regulate the size of vehicles that come in and out? Can you restrict the size?
I'm having.
Can you regulate, can you actually put in place, some sort of mechanism that nobody will be permitted to bring any vehicle larger than such and such size? Do you have a way of controlling it?
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all.
That's what it takes. I think everything, I'm with you.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah,
I'm with you. I'm saying that this can work.
It's gonna be signed, there is a gate access, it's not.
It's a regulation issue, not a design.
Is there a person there? Yes, we have a office operator who's gonna be on site every day.
Can we just
All right.
train your person to not have them block the sidewalk?
Hold on. Order. No, Alan, you had to.
Well, you somewhat answered, because I was gonna ask, when they do the customer service interview, so to speak, do you rent to people who have active businesses? Right, an active business coming and going several times a week, cars all the time. So that, you sort of answered me.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna.
I follow you so far.
Yeah, so someone's gonna store vinyl records, catalog stuff.
The person I met, this was their personal catalog, it wasn't to trade or sell.
Yeah.
And I literally, I said, you sure you wanna, this is a lot, what are you doing? Well, right now, they're in my buddy's basement.
Up the street from you was the largest storage facility in the country, Terminal Mall.
Yeah.
And they had a very large business going there, African art. And the sidewalks and the streets were always full of panel trucks and, coming and going. But in general, one of your competitors, you mentioned Manhattan, you walk up and down 23rd Street, which is one of your bigger facilities, you'll see plenty of people coming in with carts by hand, pushing wagons to do whatever kind of small work they're going to do for these type of units.
Okay, so are we ready to move?
Yes.
Last one.
So what's the average price for the storage to rent? That's it.
Well, initially, it's gonna be probably the lowest amount to gain some traction for demand. So a 10 by 10 probably would be somewhere around $180 to $200 a month.
Okay. Can you explain, just tell us what would be the procedures when, if the sidewalk is blocked? What are you going to do? What's your office?
So if this car was sticking out, the manager would walk over and go, sir, you need to pull your car in.
Okay.
And then prior to them pulling in, when you pull in with your car, we're gonna ask you to pull completely in so that the car is not blocking the sidewalk. Our agents, our call center is open, they're gonna be talking to people about their interest, and then the manager's gonna have a welcome phone call. So we're not touchless with this at all, we handle our.
Any other concern?
One other thing is that, if you do find that there's a lot of double parking, then, would you guys consider setting up appointments for move in and move out?
Well, we're always interested about convenience for our tenants, so when we start to see any type of a window that could get a little tight, we're gonna be explaining that to people. Look, you may wanna move this off to later in the day, you may wanna move this to the next day, to make sure it's convenient for you to move in, no one wants to stand around waiting to get into a storage facility.
Right, but I think they probably won't,
I can't predict what people are gonna do, what they're not gonna do, but I can communicate to them the right way to go about doing it, save themselves time.
Do you have an app which allows people to get their next time?
We don't schedule, we talk about the day of rental, and then we give them the opportunity to move in.
Okay, so I'm ready to do.
Do you want to see the rest of the presentation?
Yeah.
We only have 2 more
I think
slides.
we're
2 more slides.
Okay.
Are they fine?
Just really fast.
Yeah.
It's a MTA maps. I just think that you would love to see it. Can we get the next slide, please? Yes.
Oh, that's fun.
You're having us.
That's lovely, that's great.
This is the property's very positioned, and we're not public transit, and it's no way people are coming to our property on public transit, but it's dominated, I know you know this, but
we're right there, and this was an attractive item for us.
Hold on, next slide, next slide. Next slide, please.
And, you know, you were talking about the school and the other business that's very active is the automotive. And maybe some of you have even used this gentleman for automotive. You do, right? Great reputation.
He parks all over the street.
Okay, so that's.
Good example.
No, let's
And guess what? Here's the one thing I want to impress upon you. Our business operation begins after their peaks. So the kids are in school.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
we got it.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I don't need you. So what I'm hearing is that we like it.
Yes.
We want to make sure that they have somebody there
Right.
to manage the traffic. And that it's not going to be an issue, and that if it is an issue, we'll shut them down.
And
I'm very late.
along from the bay when they're coming out,
What?
some sort of light outside the bay. So people on the street can see that something's going on.
We're going to have a sign in the bay.
It's 10 to 6. The lights will be on inside.
No, that's not the issue. The issue is like.
Coming out.
In all the garage that we recommend to have a stop sign inside the garage before the people move out. So we have a speed bump, like a little speed bump, so people do not go fast out. So we would like you to.
Well, consider that.
Okay,
Great.
all right, so that's the reason. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion. There you go.
Okay, all in favor?
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the
Thank you. Good luck. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Excellent.
It was good. I'll give you.
I may transfer over to the building. When's this gonna be ready?
Thank you.
Really thoughtful thought.
Okay, we have now 10 minutes to do that, and I think we have some old good business people there.
We're very patient.
Committee discussion on the statement of district needs. You know what we are doing every year? We are taking all our priorities, reorganizing them, and putting them in the budget. Nothing new, only things we have voted for. I know Janine has done a terrific job sending you a list of the new items we have discussed. You need to look at those things. Maybe I'll send around a little survey so we can do it offline. And so that at the next meeting, we can have a new ranking of what are our priorities for next year. Yes, Alfie.
Do we want to go through last year's at some point, knock out the ones that feel
Yeah.
they made
Yes, we'll do
progress
that
on,
next time.
to take out from those problems?
Yes. We'll do that next time. Okay,
Go train.
all right, so that's the to-do for the next meeting. And then, Janine, do we have anyone else who wanted to do a new business? You want to do that, but online?
No, there's no hands right now.
Okay, all right.
The gentleman that had emailed us, he wasn't gonna be able to stay on late. So
Okay.
we had on.
As you
All right.
know, the MTA is doing bus network.
We're doing it
for you. My name is David Kupferberg. Though I am a member of Passengers United, 501c3 nonprofit, nonpartisan transportation advocacy group, I'm here on my own volition.
Why is that?
I have developed, because the MTA is undergoing bus network redesigns for each borough. The Bronx is complete. Queens has just been implemented and Brooklyn is in the planning stage. Most likely Manhattan will be next. At least I think it will. And that's why discussion and discourse should be facilitated for each community board within Manhattan. So that you could be proactive with the MTA.
Okay,
Great.
all right. So we need to put that on our agenda, right? That's what you're saying.
Eventually, you will.
Okay, very good. I like it. Short and sweet, but very valuable. Good reminder.
And the date to the end, this is like
Yes.
it's work.
Yes.
With the work, thank you.
Yeah, great work. Very cool.
Nice.
Yes.
So I have now the motion to adjourn.
You got it.
Yes.
I think the last one that is.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta be designed together. I would be designed.
I think he's more excited.
Yeah.
We-